Come on, come on, come on,
Welcome to the Talk with Vince show, where we will explore the depths of your mind. Let's talk about spirituality, enlightenment, politics, ufology, conspiracy, even sex. No subject is off the table. You're with the Talk with Vince show here on VegasAllNetRadio.com. Now, here's your host, Vince.
Vegas, All Net Radio. Welcome to the Talk with Vince show. I'm your host, Vince Martin, along with the lovely Branwen Christina Ravenheart. And today we have a very special show for you. I'm going to call this show Tanaath the Third. But before we get to Tanaath, we'd like to give some shout outs and do some dedications. One of the persons I wanted to give a shout out to is Tessa Sanchez from our producer, Athiona. She wants to thank you, and I want to thank you for, especially since you turned your whole family onto our show, Tessa. And the other person that I want to give a shout out to is Lario Tabias, because Lario is in Saudi Arabia, and she's really been pumping up the show on Facebook, and she's wants me to say hello to her family members, and she wanted to give a special shout out to them, and she wanted me to dedicate a song to you guys to show you how much she loves you, because I think, with her being in Saudi Arabia, she misses you guys a lot. And
is she Saudi?
No, she's not Saudi. She's working in Saudi.
Does she speak Saudi?
I have no idea whether she speaks Saudi.
Well, if she does, let me say, Kif halak sukran.
And that means what?
How are you, and thank you.
I didn't know you speak Saudi. What the hell else you speak over there?
Well, you find out a lot of things about me. You every time we go to a restaurant that's different and I order in some other language, I didn't know you spoke.
Yeah. What was that language what was that word you was trying to get me to pronounce today that you're going to speak in that language you're going to be speaking next week?
Tuchinduchi.
What is it?
Tuchinduchi.
Tuchinduchi. Okay. Let's get
Native American.
Lario Tabias, she wanted me to say to her family, she goes, Vince, I want to shout out she wanted to give us a shout out to the, as host of the show. And she says also, she wanted to give a shout out to Lady Branwen. She wants to give shout outs to my family and friends in the Philippines, the Tabias family.
Thank you, by the way, from Lady Branwen.
The Tabulag family, the Ramas family, and my brother Amador Edith, Geraldine, Gina in New Jersey, and my relatives in Hawaii, Tabias family, the Aglium family, the Ogami family, Abella family, Bylan family, the Aglium family, Bamaglog family, and she wanted to give a shout out to her niece in Hong Kong, Wing, and also Wing. And Levi, Menda, Elena, Charlex, and Sullivan. And she also says to my niece in Dubai, Judith, Bibing, Log in Kuwait, Cheryl, and Taiwan, Baby Jane, and my sons, Noami and Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in Italy, Tabalog family, the Pascula family, and to my nephew, Jetrit, Jamin, and Roxanne, and kids, and to their loving mom, Tessa Sanchez, who introduced her to the Talk with Vince show. So, Laria, we're going to play this song to your family.
And before we do that, can I do some shout outs?
Sure.
I want to shout out to Laura, Rita, and all the people at Assist Care Pharmacy for being on time with Robin all the time. That's a big help for me. And also Preston and Rita. Oh, you were Thank you, Rita. I want to shout out to you. She gave me a beautiful, beautiful diamond ring for just sitting and listening. So anyway, I want to give a shout out to those people.
Okay, Laria. This is for Laria Tabios' family. And this is how much she loves you guys. I hope you enjoy the song.
Find the words, my love, to tell you how I feel, my love. Mere words could not explain. Precious love, you held my life within your hands. Created everything I am, taught me how to live again. Only you care when I needed a friend, believed in me through thick and thin. Is for you, filled with gratitude and love.
Vegas All Net Radio. Welcome back to the Talk with Vince show, and I'm your host, Vince Martin, along with the lovely Brown Christina Ravenhart. And like I said, we call this show Tanaath the Third. And for you guys that have not tuned in before or have not heard Tanaath, and I know a lot of our listeners have, because a large part of my audience is with me because of Tanaath. And so that's why I love having her on the show.
Tanaath, I heard that somebody emailed us and said I was sarcastic.
Let's not get into that.
No. I just want to say I apologize if you think I was.
Let's not get into that right now.
I enjoy speaking with you a lot, both of you.
Yeah, because I
let's
had
get into
no
your
idea.
biography first. Let's do that. First of all, I want to say Tanaath is the creator and maintainer of the SilverLegion.org. She is a human incarnated member of the Silver Legion, an organization of mostly non-physical light warriors based out of a higher level realm. Tanaath is a spokesperson for the Silver Legion, authorized to speak to others living in this 3D reality. She lives more or less like a normal human being for the most part. Chances are, if you met her on the street, you wouldn't notice anything different about her except for maybe the fact she'd be giving you a sunny smile. She's also an artist and making her third appearance on the Talk of Vince show. Tanaath, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Vince.
How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm enjoying myself. I'm in the mountains right now, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and I've got sun coming through the window on my back, so I'm quite happy.
Which mountains?
The Rocky Mountains.
Oh, wonderful. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Well, I'm in Canada, so I had a great Thanksgiving in October.
Oh, okay.
Our harvest comes a lot earlier than yours because right now I'm under a foot of snow.
Oh, well,
You're
we
under
got
what?
Snow. A
foot of snow.
We got a little bit up on Lee's Canyon, but that's it.
Are you loving it?
I love it. I actually love cold weather.
You do? You love the snow?
I do. I do love the snow.
And I would say it's probably, for everybody that's living cold weather now, I'm not trying to make you guys jealous, but it's about 75 degrees in Las Vegas.
It's terrible.
Sun is shining.
We want some No. We want some snow. We want some cooler weather here.
Yeah, put some snow up in the mountains so I can look at it. I don't want it on the ground.
Skiing. I'm going to go skiing the first day we have enough snow.
Yeah, because that's the beauty of being in Las Vegas is that you'll be down in the valley and it'll be about 65 degrees in the wintertime, and you can look up on the mountains and see that there's snow cap. So it's a very picturesque scene. Love it. Vegas Valley, some of the scenery, and it's extremely scenic.
Did you know,
around
Vincent,
the valley.
From Cathedral up in Mount Charleston, you can see Lake Mead?
No, I didn't.
It's true. You can if you hike to the top.
You sure?
I have done it.
Hell, I don't even know if Lake Mead is still out there as much as it's been dried up.
Yeah, Lake Mead's out there. You can.
It went from being this huge man-made lake to almost like a puddle now.
That's so true. So we're jealous of you right now.
Yes, I would love to be able to play in a foot of snow.
He would too.
It's just not much fun to drive in.
Yeah, I know. Since you were last on the show, June 16th. For our new listeners or for people not familiar with your work or the Silver Legion, can we recap that? Well, tell everybody what the Silver Legion is.
Well, the Silver Legion is a spirit realm-based, non-physical organization of light warriors. We're a force of, now over 50,000. We're involved in multiple activities, but right now our main focus is Earth and the liberation thereof, and in preparation for the changes that will be coming in the next few years.
Okay, and who and what comprise the Silver Legion?
We're people from all over the place, and by all over the place I don't mean all over Earth so much as I mean all over the multiverse. We have people from universes that are largely considered fictional. We have people from planets within this universe here. We have people from dimensions 4th, 5th, 6th, a couple of 7th, but mostly 4th, 5th, and 6th. And we have many, many humans. We're about 60% human. And the other 40% is, I guess you could say, exotic. So this would be your fae, your dragons, your...
Hey.
Yes?
Your rock people, your flyer people, right?
Right.
Listen,
Your people made out of fire. Your people
great.
who
there's good and
have
bad,
multiple
but there's good.
heads and maybe You know,
The triheads?
They have what?
Dryads. We have a two-headed guy there.
There's twos and tries and fours.
Dragon people got how many heads?
Depends on who they are and where they're at, right?
Yeah,
Right,
depends on the person.
Tanaath? And some of them have different kinds of wings as well.
For those of you,
Yes.
yeah, for
Many
those,
different kinds of wings.
yeah, for those of you who've just tuned in or did not hear Tanaath doing the last interview that she gave, we had this little thing about the dragon people, because I kind of thought they looked like Barney. So
No, they don't look Barno.
but I understand they look more like Calicio, or what's her name? Is it
Khaleesi? The Khaleesi.
Khaleesi.
They look like the Khaleesi's dragons, right, Tanaath?
Well,
Some of them look like people, but most of them look like her baby dragons. Those are baby
I don't
dragons.
know if I've seen Khaleesi dragons, but I mean, there are dragons that look like all kinds. We have some that look like Asian dragons. We have some that look like Western dragons.
Right.
We have some that have 4 legs and 2 wings. We have some that have 2 legs and 2 wings. We have some that have 4 wings.
That's right.
You got any look
That
like
have
Khaleesi?
Well, she just said she didn't know what the Khaleesi was. Khaleesi looks like a human being, and
Khaleesi is blonde, blue-eyed. She's great on the show.
She's a human being, but she's
had
the
dragons.
mother of dragons.
Yeah, she had. Yeah, it's a show. It's on Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
I'm reading the first book right now.
Okay,
Oh,
so
are you?
those dragons, when you get further down, you'll see the dragons look like the red and blue and green dragon with the bat wings, and they have scales and tails, and they have hair.
Yep.
They breathe the fire
Dragons
out their
are
nose.
as diverse as humans.
Exactly.
So you'll find dragons that have feather wings. You'll find dragons that have bat wings. You'll find dragons with scales, dragons with fur,
Swimming dragons.
all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I
Earth
need.
dragons,
Is
yeah.
a fire-breathing dragon woman.
Well, they breathe it out their nose so they can
That's
open
what
their
I'm
mouth.
saying.
'Cause
Why
they
would it?
breathe-
Yeah, and some of them take on an afro appearance,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's
which is
interesting.
where they have legs and hands and a human face, but they'd still have dragon wings
They
and
would
a
have the
tail, or maybe
wings.
they have a dragon face.
And some people can see them.
Yes.
Okay, Tanaath, for new listeners, let's get into what's your role, what's your job with the Silver Legion?
I'm part of the Silver Legion command team, but my role here on Earth involves coordinating communications between ground and upstairs. It involves releasing information to the public about Silver Legion and about our activities. It involves also going on some missions these days too. So, and those are not physical world missions, but largely out of body.
Oh, okay. And we're going to call this segment Deeper Knowing You Questions. And so therefore, if you could go back and choose one moment in your life that you found in a total state of joy and play it forward to be lived in a now moment, which one would you choose and why?
You know, that's a hard question because I had a lot of moments like that in my life. And I think the ones that are consistent are the ones in which I am with my family and everybody's happy and there's that togetherness.
Yes, there's always a love of family, and especially I can tell you that during the holidays, that's the reason why Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays after Christmas. In actuality, is because of the fact is that family get together, that togetherness, the sharing of the meal. That's what it means to me. I just love that, sitting down, eating with my family. I love all those things. Thanksgiving was kind of ruined this year because remember the last time that you were on the show and we were talking about bizarre stories and with the guy with the bath salts, and you said, watch how people start to act. And they will blame it on a lot of different things, but
It's
it was
happening.
because of the changes that we were going through.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I noticed that on Thanksgiving. I know after our family meal, the first thing my wife wanted to do was run out to Black Friday. And so she
They're trying to
went
get
shopping.
that Black Friday here in Canada. We don't do Black Friday.
Yeah.
But they're trying to do that here now.
Well, actually, they turned Black Friday into Black Thursday and
they started Thursday at midnight, right?
Actually, they started Thursday at 8:00. So now families that were sharing time together were eating and then waiting to rush out to the store so that they could be the first in line. And as a matter of fact, my brother-in-law, who's in town from Montana, told me about a guy who actually in Montana got in line a week ago.
That's not right.
That's crazy.
I was going to say, my keenest moments of joy have all been when I have cooked or been part of cooking a meal for several family members and friends, and we've all gotten together and eaten that meal. And it's actually very sad for me to see this commercial frenzy cutting in on what is meant to be family time.
And that's exactly what it did, because it's now taking the families out of the home on Thanksgiving. I didn't mind them doing it on Friday, but taking the family out of the home on Thanksgiving, because some people were not at home on Thanksgiving. They were standing in line to be the first to save $3 or $4 on a television, something that was materialistic in essence. Mm-hmm. And so, and that in and of itself, and I thought about that. I thought about our previous conversation, and you go, watch how people begin to act. Watch how strangely things become. And that herded sheeple mentality of those people at those stores around the country, the shootings, the stabbings, the bickering.
We had the worst, I think, this year than we've ever had.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
And so, but getting back to you, they kind of got a little bit. I'm going to answer the same question about your time with the Silver Mission. What's your fondest moment?
I think that would be the day we found out, and I don't really know if I can call it a day because time doesn't work quite the same there, but the moment where we found out that we could establish our own spirit realm and make it our own home. Because prior to that, we were kind of just... I won't say together, but we didn't have our own, so hard to lead without your own space. At that point, we had it, and it was a very joyous occasion. And I think probably the other fondest moment was the day in which we were granted by the Federation the planet Harmony. Because now we have a planet in dimensional space, and it's our home.
Oh, wow. And we're going to get into that a little bit later on, as much as we can. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. But given the opportunity to meet a historical figure, who would you choose and what question would you ask them?
Shakespeare. And I would ask who really wrote that.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said, "To thine own self be true."
Yeah, they credited it with. Did Shakespeare really exist?
Yes.
He existed.
He's still alive.
Yeah, I know he existed, but I don't know if a lot of the works that were attributed to him were actually of his doing.
Well,
there was another writer that wrote for Shakespeare.
I think
that they attributed to Shakespeare.
Do you think he's still alive?
Shakespeare? Well, he exists somewhere. Whether he's still alive on this planet or not, I don't know.
No, in another dimension.
Probably, but whether still using the identity of Shakespeare or another identity up in the air. We change identities. It's one of the beauties of existence is the fact that we don't have to stay a static being.
Right. The energy change.
What question would you ask him?
Who really wrote that?
See,
Which one? Do you like Macbeth? What do you?
I'd like to know who wrote all of it. I did study Shakespeare in college, and
what was your favorite?
I have a few.
Well,
As You Like has been a favorite.
Okay.
And The Tempest is another good one.
Oh, The Tempest.
And Othello.
The lady does pretend me think.
Othello was probably his greatest for me.
Very great work.
Great work.
Great. I loved it more than Romeo and Juliet.
I saw Romeo and Juliet in England. I loved it. I didn't like it reading it, but I saw it.
I do have least favorite though.
Which
is that?
Titus Andronicus.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
What you got to say? Did you like that one?
Well, I've been always on the wire with that one. There are some things I really love about it, and other things I don't really get. It doesn't flow, but there are some good lessons in it.
There's good lessons in it. Doesn't mean it was enjoyable.
It's a tough one to watch if it applies to you and you recognize your faults, which I did. I'm not without fault. So I'm on the wire with that one.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Who is the most awe-inspiring being you met as a member of the Silver Legion? Describe what that encounter was and what the being looked like. Something that made
awe-inspiring,
Yeah. Amazing. What's
the point is often not to inspire awe. The beings that would be the most awe-inspiring usually go out of their way to make you comfortable around them.
Right.
But definitely the day I met Apollo was interesting.
What does Apollo look like?
Well, he usually chooses to appear as a human being, except his eyes are the color of the sun and they glow. And he's got the goofiest grin you've ever seen. And when he gets excited, he loses control of his size and starts to become very, very tall.
Example of how tall? Empire
50
State
feet tall.
50 feet. He's got blonde curly hair.
Yeah, blonde curly hair, and it has a tendency to spark and glow as well.
And his eyes change from blue to green to gold.
Yeah, actually all the colors of suns.
Yeah.
Anything a sun shows up as, Apollo's eyes change to that.
And he is...
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. So he is actually good role model. He makes you laugh, or he can make you cry.
Yes, and he's definitely a patron of music.
Mm-hmm.
They exist, the old gods of legend. They exist. They're not as presented to us. They're not these petty, squabbling things. The one thing in my brief contact with them that I have discovered is that they are very much full of love.
Yeah, look, you go up there, you give Apollo a shout out for me. Tell Apollo.
I will.
He's hearing it right now, probably.
Yeah, you give
probably.
Yeah, you give him a shout out for us.
You shout out.
Find me one of them goddesses up there and give her a shout out.
Let's give him Hera.
A what? A what? Who?
Let's give him a
harem of goddesses.
No, Hera.
Oh, Hera.
H-E-R-A.
I don't know if I do that.
Why not?
She could be a bit stuffy.
Well, then what about Freya?
Hold on a second.
Freya. Oh, Freya's a good choice. I think Vince would get along well with
Freya. I think Freya would love Freya.
Athiona, somebody keeps calling in tonight. I think they want to talk to you.
Okay.
Oh, hold on a second.
Okay, we're going to hold.
I'm looking at my producer. She's trying to explain to him. Is that somebody that wants to talk to Tanaath?
Oh, no, they want to listen via Skype, but Tanaath is on the main feed. But she's going to turn off her microphone, so I think I'll add her on.
Okay. Oh, okay. Somebody just trying to get us via Skype. So, but also now, what's the strangest life form or being has chosen to express?
His name is Ip, and I give him a he because that's the gender he chose. Mm-hmm. But Ip is a consciousness that formed between subatomic particles. We didn't think it was possible. Well,
we'll be talking about Ip next show.
Yeah. Sorry?
We'll be talking about Ip next show.
Ip?
Mm-hmm.
And he formed out of subatomic
particles.
Particles.
Yeah. So can you describe what he looks like, or paint a mental picture?
Ip doesn't have form naturally, but we've created one for him, and actually it's going to be a surprise to me because I haven't seen him. All I know is he has really funny eyes.
He's like a kachina.
He's like a witch?
No, like a kachina.
Yeah, a bit. He's a bit like a kachina, yeah.
Yeah, he's like a kachina.
He asked us for a form, so we made him one, and this way he can take part of activities that require forms. Mostly hugging and eating.
Physical
he really
form,
likes to hug.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's a hugger.
Yes.
He's a hugger?
Oh, yeah. Cuddler, hugger.
Well, let me
kisser.
ask you, what life form would you express as other than human, if you had the opportunity?
The name of my species is Yete. The other name we have a poetic name, which is Lurheen, which means children of the smoke. You'd best describe us as dragons. We don't call ourselves that.
Dragons?
We call ourselves Yete.
Dragons?
Dragons.
You mean tell me I've been talking to the dragon people all along?
Saljeta? Is that it?
Yete.
I said Yeta?
You've been
J-E-D-E.
Jetta. Saljeta. Jetta.
So you sat there and allowed me to make fun of your relatives.
Like a Jedi? Like a Jedi?
Not quite like Jedi. No.
But close?
Similar. I'll spell it to you in an email, and then you'll have the spelling.
Okay, good.
Okay. One question before we go to break. Have you seen the movie John Carpenter?
I have not. I intend to. I haven't yet.
Okay. John Carpenter is about this ancient society that's on Mars, that he finds on Mars. For some reason, he finds this symbol or this item that allows him to jump to Mars, where he encounters 3 different types of civilizations. One of them was an extremely red people. The other ones, they look like Martians. and I guess the best way to describe them is that, well, they look like Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars in actuality.
Jar Jar Binks?
Yeah, Jar Jar Binks, or whatever his name was from Star
terrible.
Wars. But
the reason
you
I
haven't
quit
seen
the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, have you guys encountered, I understand that there's underground civilizations on Mars.
Mars actually suffered some setbacks in the last 20 years and was attacked by the Greys. So I don't know how much actual civilization remains on Mars and how much fled elsewhere.
Okay. Yeah, because I understand that I know that we have some underground bases up there. We've got actually one of the jump gates is here on the other side of Fireside Mountain. Actually, Brian would say there's 4 of them. I know that there's one over on Fireside Mountain where they jump to Mars from. I know that there's a place in downtown L.A. Also, there's a building that you walk into that's a jump gate to Mars. It's like getting on an elevator, and it opens up, and it's in Mars. You'd be on Mars. And
yeah, it's called a jump room. We're familiar with the tech.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys are, huh? How does it actually work?
Well, I should say the Silver Legion is familiar with the tech. I'm not a tech.
You open the door or you go through the gate and you're there.
And you're there. Yeah.
It's a resonance. It's a way of convincing the universe that 2 points are actually the same point. And then using that to travel.
It's like a wormhole.
It's like walking off of an elevator and all of a sudden you're on a whole nother world. That would be interesting.
It's like the doors open or whatever you perceive, and you're there where you perceive to be.
Mm-hmm. There are many, many ways to travel.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to travel.
Okay. Considering the upcoming changes that we're transitioning through, what excites you the most about those changes and why?
I think getting a chance to see humans on Earth blossom and live lives in freedom and happiness the way it was meant to be.
I love what you just said. I seriously do.
Anything saddens you about this transition that we're going to go through?
The fact that we never got to experience the 3D world as it was meant to be. What we experienced here is not what it's like on other 3D planets. Our life is shorter. There's diseases and poisonous things and things that bite and all things that aren't present on other 3D worlds. And we don't remember ourselves. It would have been nice to see humans on this planet get a chance to live like humans on other planets get a chance to live. And we're going to see that as we go into the next phase. But we missed it on this one, and that's sad.
Oh, well,
and it was taken away from us.
You're absolutely right. So is there going to be another 3D planet that people who wants to express in the 3D can transition to?
Yes, but I don't know where it is, and I don't know all the details. I just know that there is a virgin planet prepared, and that those who wish will be able to go. And it won't be It won't be a forced decision. If that is what you want, you will go. If you don't want, you will become 4D on this planet.
My co-host don't want to go. She loves
No,
the
I want to
physicality.
go to the other planets. I don't want to go inner Earth.
You won't have to go inner Earth.
Right. I want the choice, and I'm very familiar with the Hopi prophecies, and we're going to have that next week. And I like the way they perceive the new planet.
Mm-hmm. And if we have time before the break here, I'd like to say a little bit about the notion of who has a right to live on Earth and who is Gaia's rightful children.
I agree
and the
with
answer
that.
to that, the answer to that is Gaia's rightful children are the sentient, self-aware people who are vibrating at the same vibratory rate that she is. So that would be us.
That she is?
That she is. Whoever
Oh,
is
Gaia,
the same
Gaia.
vibration as
The
Gaia.
Hertz system. The Hertz system.
Yes.
Okay.
And right now, physical humans on this planet are the same vibration as Gaia. We're changing with her. There are inner earthers, they're at a different vibration.
Absolutely.
They're permitted to live here. But this is not,
Their natural
they're not
habitat.
Gaia's children.
Mm-hmm.
And Gaia is the planet Earth.
Gaia
Yes.
means Earth.
Yes.
And so does Tara.
Yes, Gaia, Sophia, Tara, Terra, these are all names for Earth. When the higher dimensionals refer to us, they refer to us Terrans.
As Terrans, right, correct, absolutely. Yeah,
Not as Earthlings, because Earthling is a very unfriendly term.
Yeah, we'll be using Tuch and Ducci next week. We'll be speaking, we have somebody who speaks the language.
Well, let me ask
Oh,
you
wow.
this. Where's Earth at in her, Gaia at in her birthing process?
Well, if you'd want a number, we're about 3.95.
That's where she is?
Yep.
That's not very high. We've dropped quite a bit.
No, I'm saying in her birthing process, if you wanted to, if you want, in terms of a 9-month pregnancy, that's what she was saying. That's
Yeah,
what,
Oh, well, yes. In terms of a 9-month pregnancy, she's starting to dilate.
Okay. She's give birth to a new planet.
yeah, so she's going to,
Yeah.
to a 4th dimensional her. And she's going to take us with us for those who want to go. Correct?
Yes.
And one of the questions that came off of Facebook, and this came from Stephen Higgins in London, he wanted to know, the question that he had was, he seemed to be seeing a lot of little strange life forms or shapes out of the corner of his eye, or he called scuttling a core, and he said not only has himself needs, but he's talked to a lot of other friends that are beginning to see these type of life forms or these shapes. And he wanted me to ask you if the veil was a little thin right now, and if that was the reason why people were starting to maybe see things that they had not seen before.
Short answer, yes. Long answer, not everybody is going to immediately start seeing things because there are other factors that impact our ability to see, such as deliberate damage that has been done to a great many people's ability to see interdimensionally and see spiritually. If you have a damaged pineal, which most of us have, slightly calcified and abused through, decades of eating things like meat, it's calcified and you can't see very clearly. It's like having cataracts. So the fact the veil is thinner, or even outright missing in places, does
the
not
veil
mean
is
that
thin.
everybody's going to automatically start seeing.
I've been trying to tell people how thin the veil is this year, this time, in this, and people are just not listening.
No.
Wow. She was trying to take us to commercial, but we got
Sorry.
yeah, so we're going to get back into this a little bit. So it is really thin right now. And you mentioned that people, through the process of what they've been eating, and also, now let's say, for instance, an individual. I remember reading a book once about the people, this tribe that was up in, I want to say, the Himalayas, and the only way to get to them was on foot. and you had to hike in like several miles. And I can't remember whether it was Russia or some other country that was guarding or responsible for their external security. But one of the things that I remember reading about these people was they lived strictly by natural means. In other words, they had no artificial lights. They had no electricity. In other words, they were strictly in harmony with the earth, which means that when the sun went down or it went night, that's when they went to bed. When the sun rose in the morning, that's what time they got up. It appeared as if they had a hard life, but I kept thinking, they were totally in tune with the earth. So you're saying that individuals that maybe not have been bothered or lived in our more modern societies would probably be most likely to see through those dimensions because they have not been what I've called under social consciousness like we have. Did we lose her?
Tanaath?
Are you there?
Yes.
She's here.
Oh, I thought we lost you.
She's listening.
Oh.
She's processing.
Yeah. It's multifaceted how sight has been taken away. Part of it is, if you've ever seen little kids will draw rainbows around people. And they'll be told over and over again, no, people don't have rainbows around them. And so sooner or later, they'll stop drawing the rainbows, and sooner or later, they'll stop seeing the rainbows around people.
Yeah, because I was under the impression that usually around the age of 4 or 5, I think the veil drops, and they no longer at that time can see interdimensional. Because prior to that, they can, because that's about the time that the soul inhibits or takes over the body permanently.
Yeah, that's about the time the social programming kicks in.
Exactly.
And so we've got the social program, we've got the physical damage to the pineal, and then we have physical damage to the retinas at birth from the exposure of fluorescent lighting. So mothers, if you can arrange for your babies to be born under full spectrum or natural light, that is preferable to fluorescent lights.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I want to get into now, let's get into the Galactic Federation of Planets. Who make up the Federation?
The Federation is made up of over 500 worlds from at least 100 different systems, all in this galaxy. They're all Milky Way based, and they are groups of positives and some neutrals. And by positive, I mean that these are people who are generators of energy and whose social practices tend to be communalist, not communist, communalist, tend to be peaceful, and tend to be very, very friendly and giving. And they also are the primary governing body for the positive planets of this galaxy.
Okay, and how is it different from the Federation of Light?
The Federation of Light makes up a handful of systems at most. Most of these are reptoid and gray systems, and the people of them have been genetically engineered so that they appear human. And it is not so much a federation as it is more of a empire. And they are actually conquistador. They go out and try to expand their empire, often through hostile methods. And one of those methods is by priming human civilizations for contact and invasion via specially selected individuals who fit an ideal of physical appearance that humans are often comfortable with.
Well, let me ask you a question about the Dracos and the Greys. Off the top of your head, do you know how many planets or other worlds they've tried to conquer? Because they've been at this a long time.
They have been at this a long time, and I don't have the number. All I know is that our list of planets that need freeing after Earth has gone from 21 to over 50.
And tell the people, what effect have they had on us down here on Earth?
They first got involved around 6,000 years ago on Earth, and at first their presence was very, very covert, and then after the fall of Atlantis, they got to be a lot more overt, because the ones who were supposed to be watching over us left their post, and that allowed the lizards in. And one of the things they've done is they've influenced us genetically. They dropped our lifespan from 1,000 to 1,500 years to 50 to 100 years. They introduced diseases. They introduced poisonous animals and plants. They introduced salt into the water system in order to make it so that the water system was controlled in order to better control our population. They made it so that we were capable of involuntary pregnancy, which again was an effort to control the breeding population. They have introduced a lot of different social systems, including certain methods of trading and buying and commerce. And they've also influenced certain bloodlines on this planet.
So pretty much they've created the mess that we are today.
Yes.
But there are hidden
and that's another
bloodlines,
thing.
right?
If you listen to the messages of the Galactic Federation of Light, they're always telling us about how we messed up. We made a mess of the planet. We're terrible people. That's not the case at all. It was never us. Humans on Earth are seen by positives as the same as an abused child. If an abused child acts out, it is not because that child is bad. It is because the abuse has been bad enough that that child acts out. The problems on this planet were never done fully by us. We might have been the tool, but it was another hand that was wielding it, and that was the reptoids.
Okay, Tanaath, we have a caller on the line that wants to ask you a question. So let me find out who the caller is and where they're from, and we'll allow them to ask you a question. Who is it? Hi, this is Vince. You're on the Talk with Vince show. You have a question for Tanaath?
Yeah, absolutely I do. Tanaath, do you see a mass awakening happening within the next few weeks? And if not, how soon do you think that it will happen?
Caller, can you give your name, please?
Absolutely, yeah. It's Tara in Florida.
Okay.
Hi, Tara. I imagine it's less snowy where you are.
You what?
But I unfortunately do not see a mass awakening in a handful of weeks, but I do see a mass awakening over a gradual period over the next 2 years. Hopefully culminating in the entire planet being awake at the time of transition.
Well, I was under the impression that we were going to actually start transitioning in next year, 2013, throughout the year.
Yes, but it's not, it's a process. Some of you may have already noticed time has started to go a little funny, or rather, your perception of it has started to go funny. The clock still ticks, the second hand still moves, everything still goes on, but maybe you're not getting as much into 8 hours as you used to, or maybe you're getting even more into 8 hours than you used to. Or maybe you can't remember, was that a minute or was that 5? And that is part of the transition. It is a transition. It's not an instant thing. It takes a process, and it happens gradually, more and more. The time shifting is one of the beginning things. Look out for it. You'll notice it. You'll start to notice it more and more.
Really makes sense, Steve, the way you're putting it. Just there are groups of people saying that we're going to have a bunch of arrests happening of the cabal that's been running this planet, and at that time people will be educated. Do you see that as really happening?
I see that it's planned. I see that there are people who are honestly, legitimately trying to get that to work, and we're doing everything we can to support them. This is a war. Let me put it that way. In a war, battle plans change.
Yeah, that makes sense too. And you mentioned something about dragons that I may not have heard right. I just came on. You said we call you dragons, but you see yourself as something else. Is that the same type of dragons that some of the people on this planet have as companions? Some of them have very strong telepathy on a regular basis with them, and they think of them as the actual dragons that have been drawn on pictures.
It's the same. We don't always use the same term dragon, the English term dragon, to describe ourselves, but we're dragons. Like, for instance,
okay, so you
have people in Denmark. They don't use the term they don't use the term people from Denmark to describe themselves. They use the term Danes. But we might call them, people from Denmark. It's the same thing, but that's not the term they use. Or, for instance, the Tutus. They don't use the term people in sub-Saharan Africa. They use Tutus. That's the name of our people, Tutus. The name of my people is Yedda, but everybody else calls us dragons.
I see. Okay, but there's many different kinds of dragons. Isn't that true? Like
exactly.
I heard you on another
show. Not all dragons are Yedda, but the dragons I'm from are Yedda. Just like not all people are Danes.
Okay, so I imagine with these veils getting thinner, we're going to be seeing. Well, I know people are seeing a lot more of the hidden realms all the time, but the dragons, especially, a lot of us have interest in, because I know a number of people that have them, some with really remarkable constant communication with them. So that's just going to be increasing, no doubt, wouldn't you say?
I would hope so. It does depend on factors other than the veil, such as a person's health, the health of their pineal gland, whether or not they were exposed to fluorescent light at birth, and also how deeply they tie into the social programming that says those things don't exist and aren't there.
Tara, my co-host, wants to ask you a question.
Sure.
Tara, you're using an Earth-based name. Are you in the craft?
No, actually, my full name is Antara.
Antara? So
yeah.
You are in some sort of a group?
I am.
That's all I needed to know.
I am.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's interesting, actually, Antara, because the Antares system is a very staunch and steadfast ally of Earth.
Okay, we got about 2 minutes left. Tara, do you have another question for Tanaath before we take a break?
I do not at this time, but thank you very much.
Okay, and my producer want me to tell you not to hang up so that you can continue listening to the show.
Thank you.
Okay. And how much time we got left? 1.5. We got 1.5 minutes. And
I wish you blessed be, and I hope that you get all the information you need.
Is that Tara?
Yeah, that's Tara. Because I know Tanaath has it.
You.
I know Tanaath has it. Tanaath and I are on the same page.
I could talk all day with her.
With who?
With Tanaath.
Tanaath.
Yeah, Tanaath has it, yes.
Well, feel free to email me. There is a Contact Us button on my website. It's on the front page. I apologize, the widget's a little wonky. I do answer the emails, though sometimes it takes me a little while to catch up.
Yeah, we know that,
especially after a show.
We know that's right, don't we? Because we get a lot of comments. And when we come back on the other side, we're going to talk about the new home planet, and we're going to get into the Silver Legion a little bit. And also 2012. We're going to talk about December 21st, 2012. You're listening to the Talk with Vince show with Tanaath. We'll be back.
Can I talk to you? Oh, 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 oh.
Interested in doing a live one-on-one reading with Lady Brenwyn? Give her a call today at 702-386-2950. Again, at 702-386-2950. And mention Vegas All-Net Radio Talk with Vince Show and get a discount rate. Again, that's 702-386-2950. Psychic Readings by Brenwyn.
All your spiritual enlightenment needs, or to get all your questions answered, visit the Bell Book and Candle Ye Old Magic Shop, located at 1725 East Charleston Boulevard, Suite C, here in Las Vegas, between Eastern and Maryland Parkway, next to Blueberry Hill. Robin, Alex, or Branwen can assist you in your quest for books, herbs, candles, or just to answer your questions. That's the Bell Book and Candle, 1725 East Charleston Boulevard, Suite C. Give them a call at 702-386-2950 or visit them online at LasVegasBBC.com. That's LasVegasBBC.com. Visit the Bell Book and Candle, Las Vegas's oldest magic shop. The medical offices of Dr. James Hutton establishes a nature cure philosophy in the 21st century by utilizing progressive leading-edge technology grounded in ancient earth-nurtured medicine. You can visit Dr. James Hutton at the Medical Clinic of Oak Creek, located in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, 2081 West State, Route 89A, Suite 3, 86336. Or you can give them a call at 928-203-9013 or visit them on Facebook or online at medicalclinicofoakcreek.com.
Come on, come on, come on.
Welcome to the Talk with Vince show, where we will explore the depths of your mind. Let's talk about spirituality, enlightenment, politics, ufology, conspiracy, even sex. No subject is off the table. You're with the Talk with Vince show here on VegasAllNetRadio.com. Now, here's your host, Vince.
Vegas All Net Radio. Welcome back to the Talk with Vince show. I'm your host, Vince Martin, along with the lovely Branwen Christina Ravenheart. And today, we've got very special guest, Tanaath, on the show. This is Tanaath the Third.
Our third show, yes.
Yeah, see, Tanaath, you got your own segments. I tell you, me and Branwen going to take a break one of these Saturdays, and we're going to let you host the show.
Absolutely.
Well, then we'll have to take calls.
Yeah, because you know what?
I don't think I can do it alone.
Yeah, because you know what? Like I told you, there's a lot of people out there that want to talk to you, and a lot of them are trying to call in now. But we're going to roll on with this thing because at this point, yeah, I guess Chloe is on the line, but we're not going to take any calls at this point because there's a lot of information that we really need you to get out there.
Yeah, we really need you to put for the rest of the world.
Yeah, so what I would like to do is explain a little bit for new listeners how the Silver Legion has an effect on their lives. How are they helping the people of Earth? Because like you said, there is a war that's taking place, and they're engaged in this war on our behalf. So for people who are not familiar with the Silver Legion, can you explain a little bit to them how the Silver Legion works for us and how they've been helping us and putting it out there on the line? Yet, many of the people on Earth have no clue that they even exist.
Well, one thing we're not able to do is have a really in-your-face physical presence. We're still not able to manifest on the planet, at least not directly. What we have been doing is working on making sure that violence doesn't break out on large scales. Preventing something like a lone gunman style incident is very, very difficult, but preventing a missile from being launched is a little easier. Preventing a war from breaking out is one of the things we're highly focused on right now, particularly in certain regions of the world. And we've been working at this for months to prevent it. So the fact that you're starting to hear about it now is a good thing. Because if we hadn't prevented what we could back then, you would have heard about it a lot sooner, and it wouldn't have been good.
Are you guys keeping an eye on things that are going on in the Middle East? And
yes, we are.
Affecting the rest of the world?
Yes, we are.
Is there anything that we should be concerned about on a mass scale, such as World War III?
There won't be a World War III. At least not if we have anything to say about it. Not if the Galactic Federation has anything to say about it. There will not be a World War III.
But there are people trying to create a World War III, isn't there?
Yes, and they've been trying for quite a long time.
Now, are they trying?
So just because they're trying does not mean that they are seeing.
Are they trying this for population control? Is it for population reduction? What is their main purpose, you think? Just your opinion on why they are trying to create this war?
There's never just one purpose. But yes, population reduction is one of it. Mass sacrifice is another. Because all of those people who would die to the war consist part of a sacrifice.
So if so, it would be a part of some type of ceremonial thing to have this mass sacrifice take place.
Yes.
We did a show on the origins of war where we talked about the wars that kind of took place in the heaven between Yahweh and Jehovah.
Yeah, Jehovah and Yahweh, yeah.
And one of the things that we did was that we looked at approximately, I think it was 179 wars, and counted up the low end estimate of the number of people that died during those wars. And we didn't take into account the effect that the war may have had that caused other deaths from, for other people, such as
from famine, from starvation, from wounds, from,
right.
All of those deaths count from an energetic standpoint.
And they do. And so what we did was we took the low end estimate, and just out of 179 wars, we came up with an estimate of 1.3 billion people had been killed in those wars alone. And like I say, we didn't take into account the famine and all of the other things. And we did the low end estimate just to give people an example of how many people have died because of this cause and because of this reptilian influence on lives. And that's what you guys are involved in trying to stamp out, is that gray Draco reptilian influence. Is that not correct?
Yeah, another thing, we quite enthusiastically shoot down any reptoid or gray ships that manage to portal in on Earth. There are none in the Sol system right now. We've managed to eradicate their presence, and it wasn't just us. The Andromeda Council and the Galactic Federation were definitely involved in the eradication of the enemy presence within the system. But every now and then they'll find a portal, activate it, get a few cigars in the sky, and we got to shoot them down.
Right. Now, the Silver Legion has some new ships. How are they from comfort level?
We have new ships. We have now several classes. Our first ship is not actually capable of standing on its own in space. It is a scout craft. So we use for short-range transportation and sometimes just, make eye for people.
What's life like on a ship? If we would inhibit one of
on
these
a big ship?
Yeah, on a big ship. What we have to do? I mean, we've talked about this in the past, and so, but for new listeners, describe kind of what type of recreational games go on those ships.
Well, ships have several different types of space. There's quarters for crew, quarters for visitors. There's the environmental stuff that is for people on the ship to stay alive in space. If it's a warship, there are systems of weapons and shields and other devices. There's public space where people can get together. There's private space where that's, used for purposes. There's recreational space. And on the silver ships, every ship has a mini arena, which people can use as a place to hone their combat skills, or they can put in a program and say, for instance, play Skyrim in the flesh.
What's Skyrim?
There's also a holodeck where you can have a little bit more flexibility in what can be done.
Well, let me ask you this question. When you mention these type places like the arena, are we talking about alternate reality centers? One of the things that I've read and in my study is that the reason why they're able to make some of the hairpin turns that they make is because the observer on the ground, we're looking at that ship and we see it, all of a sudden go to amount of speed and make a right angle turn. It looks like that from the observer, from us as the observer, whereas in the ship itself, they don't feel that. It's not. It's being controlled.
No, it's inertialess.
Yes. And
even if you're traveling at 17,000 miles an hour in the atmosphere, you don't feel it. You don't feel the G-force like you would in a terrestrial plane. It's completely inertialess.
When you're working with these ships and stuff, and I was looking over this, I didn't look it over prior completely, but I just did. How do you feel? I mean, you do help slaves that these people have taken, or these other entities have taken. Am I correct?
Yes, slavery is illegal according to the Galactic Federation of Planets laws. Slavery is illegal.
And can you tell us what
we do not
what
condone
the slaves
slavery,
do?
and anytime we find slaves, we free them. And we give them medical and psychological treatment, and we give them a place to live.
Can you tell me what they used the slaves for?
All kinds of things. Some of it very, very horrible. Slaves are used to do menial labor. Slaves are used for sexual purposes. Some of them are eaten.
Eaten. That's what I was getting at. And is it true? Now, this is from what I know, that the younger the better. Like veal. Yeah,
they like to eat children. They also like to hurt children because children are very trusting by nature, and you can generate far more negative energy from an innocent child.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why they abuse children.
Thank you for confirming that for me and for those who have heard it and believed it. I heard it many, many years ago and saw a 9-year-old boy in the Nevada desert when I was working with a group. But I just wanted you to confirm that for me.
Yeah, that's one of the things they do, and they do prefer children, yes. Which is one of the reasons we generally aren't inclined to be merciful.
Good for you. I'm not either.
Y'all, something else. The next question I have for you is that you talked on your website about one ship being a capital ship versus atmospheric. What's the difference between those two types of ships?
Capital ships are larger. Atmospherics are designed to live in space, but they're also designed to be able to go into an atmosphere. Capital ships are huge. They generally start around half a mile and go up from there. They're not designed to ever land on a planet, and usually if you tried to land one on the planet, that would be the last time that ship went anywhere.
It's kind of like a comet, if it lands?
Yeah, it's built in space. It lives its whole service life in space, and it's space-based. And when you're using a capital ship, you use smaller craft to go to and from the surface of a planet, such as scouts. You would use scouts for that.
And isn't
or pinnets.
Is it true or not? The people that you're fighting sometimes use their ships that are similar to slam into other planets to destroy life force.
Yeah, they have done deliberate crashes, and it's even worse because the Draco and the Hydra use poorly contained fission drives.
Right. Okay, that's what I
so
wanted
they're
to
basically their ships aren't just ships; they're flying nuclear bombs.
Right. Okay. So they do take out body counts.
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. This is kind of off the wall, but it's a theory I've heard, and I'm wondering if it's true or not. Is our moon an artificial satellite?
The moon is an artificial satellite.
It is it is an artificial satellite.
It is an artificial satellite.
Okay.
And it also has stabilizers inside it so that it always prevents the same face to Earth.
Oh, wow. Does it?
Yeah.
So it's actually, it's not the rock that we've been told that it was.
Well, it's made out of rock.
It's made out of rock.
But it's artificial.
It's hollow inside, but that's why we haven't been back, isn't it, Tanaath?
We up there. We got a base
last
up
there. Last time we landed on there, we were approached and said, go away and don't come back. And we haven't.
So, well, what did they think about NASA up there trying to blow a crater into the moon?
Not happy.
No.
Because I was like, what the hell were they thinking? Why would you go up there and try to blow a hole in the moon?
Now, I thought you knew that, Vincent.
Well, see, no, I'd heard the theories about the moon being an artificial satellite, but I'd never had anybody confirm it.
Well, yeah.
But let me ask you, the last time that you were on the show, you mentioned you guys had destroyed a cube, and in that cube, there was a lot of souls that were rescued, or a lot of people that were rescued, and some of them went into rehab, because you said a lot of them was messed up really bad. So
a lot of them were.
How is their rehab going? Have they been reintegrated into society, or are they a part of the?
They're fully restored at this point. Like, they're fully back to themselves up there. We've started the process of those for whom it is safe to come back to the bodies that they were, kicking out the usurper and getting them restored. There's some who don't want to. They just want to stay in the fourth dimension. You know, they're getting up there a little earlier, but they're there.
Okay. Well, you know, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to get into, we're going to talk a little bit about the Olympics and the Paralympic symbolism that you guys were observing. And from that, then we're going to get into December 2012.
She needs to talk about the usurpers, though, because people don't know what that is.
Do we have time for that right now?
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we come back on the other
first
side.
Thing.
And actually, Tanaath, call me on my cell during the break.
Saturday nights from 7 to 10, it's the Chill Zone with your host, Randy M. Join Randy as he takes you through a journey of smooth electronic music and beyond. It's the Chill Zone with your host, Randy M. Every Saturday night from 7 to 10, only on VegasAllNetRadio.com.
Hello, I'm Stephen Hollingsworth, and I've had so many jobs in my life. From cleaning toilets and emptying trash cans to training and managing employees at multi-million-dollar companies. I've been an excellent employee with bad management and a great manager with less than stellar employees. That's why I created a new show called All in a Day's Work, for employees and employers to meet in the middle and have frank discussions about how we can work together to make work better. Join me for All in a Day's Work, Saturday at 1 p.m. on VegasAllNetRadio.com. Remember, it's good to have a job, but it's better to have one you love.
The medical offices of Dr. James Hutton establishes a nature cure philosophy in the 21st century by utilizing progressive leading-edge technology grounded in ancient earth-nurtured medicine. You can visit Dr. James Hutton at the Medical Clinic of Oak Creek, located in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, 2081 West State, Route 89A, Suite 3, 86336. Or you can give them a call at 92203-9013 or visit them on Facebook or online at medicalclinicofoakcreek.com. For all your spiritual enlightenment needs, or to get all your questions answered, visit the Bell Book and Candle Ye Old Magic Shop, located at 1725 East Charleston Boulevard, Suite C, here in Las Vegas, between Eastern and Maryland Parkway, next to Blueberry Hill. Robin, Alex, or Branwyn can assist you in your quest for books, herbs, candles, or just to answer your questions. That's the Bell Book and Candle, 1725 East Charleston Boulevard, Suite C. Give them a call at 702-386-2950 or visit them online at LasVegasBBC.com. That's LasVegasBBC.com. Visit the Bell Book and Candle, Las Vegas's oldest magic shop.
This is Sierra from the Curvaceous Bounty of Sin City, urging you to adopt, not shop. There are hundreds of thousands of animals out there looking for homes, and you could be their next forever home. Visit your local animal shelter today to find your next family member.
Hey, Luis, where are we going today?
Dude, I just heard about this great place called the Geek Lounge.
The Greek Lounge? But I'm not really into lamb or Slovaki.
No, man, not the Greek Lounge, the Geek Lounge.
The Geek Lounge? What's that?
Yeah, dude, it's your one-stop shop for talk about everything from movies, video games, comic books, TV shows, manga, and anime.
Wow, when does all this happen?
It's every Sunday at 4 p.m. on VegasAllNetRadio.com.
Oh, man, it's almost time. We better hurry.
You're right. Don't forget, that's the Geek Lounge, Sundays at 4 p.m. on VegasAllNetRadio.com.
Oh, hot diggity dog, diggity bum, what you do to me?
Welcome to the
the Las Vegas Hot Diggity Dachshund Club and Rescue Show with your host, the Doxy Diva CC. The phone lines are open at 7:00.
Hey you, this is Vince here on the Talk with Vince show, where no subject is off the table. We'll explore the depths of your mind. Spirituality, we talk it. Enlightenment, we talk it. Politics, we talk that too. Ufology, you want it, you got it. Conspiracy facts, we're on it. Sex, we talk it. So join me every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. for Talk with Vince here on VegasAllNetRadio.com. Talk that will blow your mind.
Come on, come on, come on.
Vegas All Net Radio. Welcome back to the Talk with Vince show. I'm your host, Vince Martin, along with the lovely Brandon Christina Ravenhart. And we got a very special guest online with us today via Skype. We've got Tanaath.
Hey, Tanaath.
The third.
Hello.
From the Silver Legion. And Tanaath, we wanted to talk a little bit about, in this segment, the Olympics. And there was a lot of symbolism surrounding the Olympics. I myself didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either.
I didn't want to be influenced by the symbolism. I have a cousin who goes, man, you have to see that. You can't believe how blatant and open.
It was pretty blatant. I only saw parts of it, but it was pretty blatant.
Well, Tanaath, I just want to tell you thank you and we're a go.
Okay.
And
I'm taking my earphones off for a second.
Okay.
Okay. Now.
But yes, there was quite a bit of symbolism, and those who are aware of the symbolism and how it works were incredibly shocked at how blatant it was. And it was incredibly in your face, probably more even in your face than Super Bowl one earlier.
Right. Now, how did it affect people on a subconscious level, for those who don't understand how symbolism affect them, or new listeners that may not be aware of all of the symbols or things that are out there that are used to mass program?
Well, they give power to it at a subconscious level just by watching it. If you're not an aware watcher, then it does take a little bit of power from you at a subconscious level, and it uses that for their own purposes, which aren't necessarily in your best interests.
Correct. And
so it's more than just a fancy display. It actually has a meaning. And it's also their messages to those who are aware.
Yes. So and to others, it's subliminal programming.
Yeah.
And it also, and we're talking about the cabal here. The other thing too is that you mentioned that there's other major events that were planned to take place around the world. Can you talk a little bit about what you think might happen, or what they've kind of got planned that we need to be aware of, or?
Well, we know they're trying to kick off a world war any way they can, whether it's between, entities in the Gulf, or whether it's between China and Japan, or whether it's involving Russia. They're trying as hard as they can to spark an incident, a shot heard around the world any way they can. Other things they're trying to do is they're continuing with the pollution of the Gulf. The disaster last week was no accident. They're still trying to cause problems with power plants, nuclear power plants, to try to spark another Fukushima incident.
Wow. Any other major events? Any false landing?
False flags?
False flags or false landing?
They still want to try to pull off an alien invasion any way they can, whether it's real or not.
Now, we're
not playing ball, which frustrates them.
Right. Now, would they be using holographic technology to pull off that alien invasion?
They try. If we see a holographic generator, we usually remove it. But they do try.
Okay. And this has got off the wall, but I got to ask this question because it keeps coming back to me for some reason. Are there mermaids? Have you ever?
There are underwater aquatic that, and yes, there are mermaids as a species, but there are underwater aquatic humans that actually look much like you or I, except their hair tends to be more sea shades, and so do their eyes, and they have webbed feet and hands.
They have webbed feet. So
yeah, they have webbed feet. It makes it easier to swim.
So they don't actually look like the Little Mermaid.
There are fae that are mermaids.
So you
the classic idea of mermaids, but they're fae.
Which means, and I know you and Brenwyn, y'all got an issue with faes.
Not an issue. You just have to be careful with fae. They play by their own rules.
Yeah, they do play by their own.
Well, there's also Selkies.
Yeah.
And anyone who is familiar with Celtic mythology, Selkies are people who are seals in the water and people on land.
Okay. Let's get into...
Shut your eyes. Do you see... Tell me what color you see.
Blue.
Blue. Okay. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Close your eyes again. And then open them. What color? Still blue?
No, kind of an orange.
Orange?
Yep.
Do it one more time. And tell me what you see.
Shifting more to a pink.
To what?
To a pink, like an orangey pink.
You're almost there.
She is.
One more time.
That time it's red, but warm.
That's it. You got it. We're okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now that we've got that out of the way, but let's get into the events that's going to take place in or around December 21st, 2012.
Right.
What do you see? Can you talk to us about what's going to take place and the fact that people can't go berserk?
Right. How about I tell you what's not going to take place?
Yeah. Well, because I'm thinking a lot of people are like, well, the world going in, so there's no need to pay this or do that or do this. So a lot of people are like, well, I don't have to pay my credit card bills.
Do that. One of the things you learn when you're living undercover is you always maintain your cover. Even if you're expecting to not be there tomorrow, you always maintain your cover.
Right.
Act like you're going to be there for the next whatever.
And
so it's not a good idea to sell your house or your car or, go out and buy a Mercedes if you weren't already going to buy a Mercedes.
But if you already have one, keep it.
Yeah, if you already have one, keep it. Don't go about in a panic over it, because there's always a chance absolutely nothing will happen. And then your bases are covered.
Yeah, but it would be nice if you went out and bought a Mercedes and then somebody sent down a lightning bolt and blew up the dealership and the bank so you wouldn't have to pay for it.
It would be, but I wouldn't count on that kind of thing.
Actually, I think that they're going to, I don't know, but I believe that our whole system will change where things will be easier for people if they hang in there in the right heart.
Yeah, that's our hope, and that's what we're working towards, but we can't give an ETA.
That's right.
Because
There's no way. Yeah.
Or timelines to change. Now, the December 21st date is important, but it is not important for the reasons that are widely believed.
What do you feel about December 7th?
Because it's the win-by date. At that point, depending on how many or what percentage of people on the planet are negative and what percentage of the people are positive, it will decide whether we transition as a 4D negative planet or a 4D positive planet. And we've already passed the win threshold for 4D positive long time ago. The only way they can pull a 4D negative now is by killing off most of the positives. Okay. And we're not going to let that happen.
Okay, what about December 7th?
Again, that's
a big day.
Tell me the reasons why you believe that's a big day, and I'll tell you what I know.
The Hopi believe that's the beginning.
The day it begins.
It's been in their prophecies since 1100 AD.
Well, that's finally nice to see somebody saying other than December 21st as the prophecy day. But actually, all through this month, there are important dates and important events. And actually, we had an important event, or an important date actually on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why? What took place?
And there was also one on the 11th. The 11th of the 11th is always an important date.
Oh, yeah, that's actually
an important date as well.
And what's important about Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, there was a wave of energy that was incoming. And the ones who sent it didn't intend any good for us. But it was we were able to change it. And I'm not saying the Silver Legion, but the positive forces were able to change it. So it is now a friendly wave.
Also, so what about, I know there's been a lot of talk about solar storms. Can we expect to see a massive solar storm within the next couple of weeks coming off the sun or reaching us?
No. You're not going to see anything that's going to be like a CME that'll knock out all the life like some people have remote viewed. That's a hostile PSYOP program that was inserted by the Greys in order to help us manifest out of our own fear a disaster. What is going on with the sun right now? You might have heard some people talking about an object near the sun. Some people are calling it Nibiru. Some people are calling it a second sun. It's none of the above. It's a Andromedan biosphere, and it's keeping the corona stable so that we don't get any X-class flares that are going to knock out grids and, make your iPhone not work. And
I agree with you there, but the tsunamis have started in some parts of the Hara.
The which?
The tsunami.
The second.
But they're not as big as what people think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not as big as what people had projected.
Yeah. We have several different groups that are working on making sure that none of these natural changes are going to kill us in a fragile state.
But they can be altered.
Yeah, we have people who are keeping the plate stable and mitigating earthquakes. Even these really, really powerful earthquakes that have to come through, they're trying to do their best to make sure that it's the least loss of life possible. Think of the earthquake earlier in the year. That's Mexico, place exactly known for building up to earthquake code in a very populated area, and it was a very powerful earthquake, and only 3 people were killed.
Let me ask you this question: so, what can people expect to occur on December 21st, 2012? I mean, how will their lives change? Are they going to, will the energy feel different? What's going to be different about that date or any period after that date that something that physical that we can latch onto?
If you're like me, you'll have an awesome party.
Right. Isn't it what manifests in there? Isn't it what brings to manifestation?
A lot is, and that's why people do not panic and not fear and not build up catastrophe in there. It's because
fear is the worst thing, right?
Putting energy to that possibility.
It's a manifestation thing. If you believe it'll happen to you, but it might not happen to your next neighbor, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, plan for a good night, plan for a party, or even just a quiet night home with your ones, and enjoy yourself, and don't freak out. And yes, in the days to come, the days after that, those who are open to it will probably sense more.
We call it a motor transition. We call it a motor transition, something that the chakras build up and whatever you believe manifest.
Yeah, and please note it makes no distinction between your fears and your desires.
That's correct, because the fears are sometimes your desires.
Yes.
Never lose fact, the thing you fear the most you attract?
Yes, so don't do that. It's okay to be aware of possibilities, but don't dwell on fear.
If you're afraid you're going to lose money, you will. If you think you're going to win, you will. Vincent?
Oh, you know what? It ain't no issue. I'm going to win.
Listen, if you think you're going to win, you will.
I've already thought about this. And actually what I should have did at the beginning of the show was gave a shout out to all the people that contributed to my lottery fund. Because I'm winning that $325 million tonight. So if you bought a lottery ticket, I sure thank you guys for putting into my pool.
Tanaath, he asked every every single week about this lottery thing. I tell him games of chance are not what most spiritual people are concerned with.
No, and I've been asked, why don't you just win the lottery? Well,
me
for one
too.
thing, the way it works, if I tried, I wouldn't.
Thank you. Tell him how
because I'm doing it
works.
for the wrong reasons.
Okay. Tanaath, you want to take a call?
Sure.
Okay, you want to take a call? I think we have Chloe. And Chloe, where are you from?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Oh, wonderful. I am from Vancouver, BC, just a little bit to the left of Tanaath.
Oh, okay. So you're on with Tanaath. Go ahead.
I've been there.
Of course you have. I've been where you are, and I love snow too. Firstly, I just want to publicly express my gratitude for you and Tolek's efforts to keep us informed of the nature of the war that's been going on. And you helped me a lot. And I'm not sure if you remember, but I had reoccurring dreams of basically a small black Archon that was attached to my mother and ruined all my sisters and I's childhoods. And I would have never figured out what that incident was 10 years ago without your help.
I remember emailing.
Yeah. So my question for you is, I've recently begun having dreams again of my mom. Does this mean, first hold. So if you've got an Archon attached to you for your lifetime and after you die, because she had died by the time I've done this, does the soul go back to source? Because obviously a lot of damage has been done. Or
well,
is that
for a long time here on the planet, there was a soul trap that kept us coming back.
Yeah, the reincarnation thing.
Yes. Well, reincarnation is normal. Everybody does it. The thing is, normally you get a chance to choose. Here you just got shuffled back onto Earth willy-nilly.
Yeah.
But there was usually a time gap between it. So if your mother has passed away within the last 30 years, then she was likely among some of the people that were freed when we found these soul traps and the people who were being processed through them.
Yay, thank you. Okay, that's all I wanted to hear. And then the other question is, and I'll get off the line, is I want a Silver Morrow update. How is he?
Oh, Morrow.
Oh, yeah.
Mustache Morrow. He is currently working with Akara with, actually we had a rather amazing incident happen that we weren't expecting, and neither was anyone else in the Galactic Federation or the Andromeda Council.
What?
But the Anunnaki surrendered to the Silver Legion.
Oh my goddess! Yay!
And Morrow and Akara have been working with the civilian population of the Anunnaki to restructure their society so that there's distribution for everyone and that equal rights are there and that it's no longer a stratified society of a handful of elites and a whole bunch of suffering minions.
So are you getting Silver Legion, getting some Anunnaki civilians helping? Because they were responsible for a lot of our...
They were, and that's part of why they surrendered.
Wow,
they saw their own responsibility. And in their case, too, it was largely the elites who were pushing it. It wasn't the individual members of the Anunnaki society. And it wasn't on Nibiru either. They had 5 planets in other systems, and I'm afraid I'm not much of a stellar cartographer, so I couldn't point it out to you.
That's okay.
But, yeah, there were 5 species, 2 species of humans, 1 avian, 1 insect, and 1 reptoid. Not related to Draco and Hydra.
Wow.
So they're going to come back and invade it. You can forget about Nibiru. They've surrendered.
Oh, I have. Long ago. Thank you so much, Tanaath. Spiritual hug to you.
He's been up to that for the last 3 months, and he's been a very busy guy.
Thank you, Chloe. Thank you for calling in, and thank you for listening.
Welcome.
And, yeah, she's up in the snow, too. She loves snow. I love snow, too, but I also like the sunshine. Lots of it. Okay. Getting back to 2012, Tanaath, we got about 15 minutes left. So give us a dissertation on anything that we should know, that you think we should know, or any information that you want to get out there that we may not have
Well, there
covered.
is some critical information that I want to get out there.
Go
Now,
ahead.
there are some people who are hoping beamed and ascended on December 20th. I want to remind you of what your mom told you or your teacher told you when you were 6 years old, and that's don't get into a car with a stranger. This is the same situation. Now imagine you're 15 years old and you've got a crazy rich uncle with more money than sense. And everybody in your family, when they turn 15, he buys them or 16, he buys them a BMW. In 2 months, you'll be turning 16. You're going to get that BMW. He's shown you pictures of it already in your email. You know it's there. It's just waiting till you're 16 because that's the day you get your license. And then 1 month before your birthday, your creepy neighbor rolls up in a white van, leans out, shows you a picture of your BMW and says, "Come ride in my van and I'll give you this car." All you got to do is put on this pink dress, spray yourself with this perfume based on cat pee, and get in the back of the van. Well, that BMW is already yours. You don't need to ride in this creepy guy's van to get that BMW. This offer to be beamed up and ascended, it's offering you what you already have. You just got to go ride in a van with a creepy stranger. Don't do it.
It's a trick. It's a spy.
It's a trick, yeah. Do you really think that guy's got that BMW in the back of his van for you? No.
No, that's where they take you as a slave and as a captive. That's when.
Yes, and they're deliberately targeting people who are spiritually aware in order to deny Earth the advantage of having those spiritually aware people.
Is that, and that's, correct me if I'm wrong, that's because spiritual people want to believe so badly they will believe.
Yes. You don't need to be ascended by any third party. You will get it naturally. You stay on the planet, you will get it. Nobody needs to give it to you. It's yours by right.
Wow. And so pretty much what you're saying is that there's going to be some type of false flag event where they're going to offer people the opportunity to ascend.
But to have anything they want, they're going to go right into the crown chakra.
Yeah.
And they're going to pull out, like I do remote viewing, they're going to pull out what that person most wants, a person, a life mate, or a Mercedes, like she says, or a prom dress, or whatever. And they're going to believe this because they want to believe in the spirituality of it.
Yeah, and one thing I'm going to caution you, anyone who's asking you to invite them, whether it's into your head, whether it's into your family, whether it's into your household, your planet, your nation, be careful.
You have to ask, don't you?
You have to ask.
You can't just go in and do it.
And it's just as likely if they're asking you to invite them in so they can invade you that they're not doing it with your best interests in mind.
Correct.
Now, so pretty much what you're saying is that there's going to be these beings that are going to come.
They're already here, Vincent.
That are going
They're already
to offer
here. They're
people,
already sending out their messages. They're already trying to convince people to ask to be beamed up on December 21st.
To surrender.
Yeah, to surrender. Don't do it. And if you've already agreed to it, you could retract that agreement. And I suggest you do it, and you do it over and over and over again.
Yeah, because I think Tanaath will agree with me. If you don't say so, you have free will and free choice. So you can say, no, I've changed my mind.
Yeah, you can always change your mind.
Because your soul is not tied to another soul except for your soulmate. And your soulmate means you no harm.
Yep.
Athiana, we got another caller waiting to speak to Tanaath. Okay. All right. Is there anything else that we should be aware of? Any other false flag events that people should be looking out for? Because you're right. I can see a lot of people playing on people's spirituality during this time frame.
Well, if a bunch of blonde, blue-eyed Bass Brothers start coming out of the woodwork and landing around and being on primetime television saying that they're here to help you, I wouldn't buy it.
And let me ask you.
If it sounds too good to be true, it is?
Yeah.
At what time, I know that you probably can't give an estimate, but is there plenty of religion to engage us? What did you call us earlier?
I think that's need to know.
Terrans?
I think that's need to know.
See, you know what? Terrans.
Yeah, we do.
Are y'all trying to call us?
We can't actually physically land right now, but once it's
tell you
possible, we
that.
would like to start engagement.
Hold on a minute.
And we're not the only ones. The civilian population of the Andromeda Council would like to start with engagement and humanitarian aid.
And those that are truly in the craft also are working with you guys. So,
thank you. But yes, we do, and the reason we haven't yet is because this is a war and we're opposed. If this was a one-sided thing where we could just come in and do whatever we wanted, we would have had that long ago. There would have been aid on this planet long ago. People would be free right now. But we're opposed, and there have been all kinds of redundancies and tricks put into place to keep us from interfering. The Andromeda Council still plans on making its landings. They don't have a firm timeline because we won't know until it's possible.
Tanaath, did you hear our show last week?
I'm afraid I was on the road last week.
If you tuned into it, it's called Vincent brought it on, and we'll stop once these, for lack of a better, let's call them the bad guys, bad energies, because there's good and evil. That situation we talked about last week on female mutilation.
Female genital
mutilation. That will stop because that is not what we were sent here for. That is
no, it wasn't what we were sent here for.
That is not part of our life. That is not. Life was never meant to be a struggle. Stuart Weil never said it so clearly as that.
But I can tell you that if it were possible for us to act freely, we would have already started distributing humanitarian aid, specifically in areas such as the areas that were affected by Sandy, parts of the third world where the need is extremely dire. Somalia. They need aid more than we need proof that this exists.
What kind of abilities are going to start coming to light during this transitional period? And
telepathy will be universal, but I'm not too sure when that will all start happening.
And I'm aware that the telepathy, but it'll be on different levels, right?
Yes, there's different forms of it.
Yeah, and we do have somebody that wants.
What about teleportation?
Teleportation, most people will be able to bilocate and teleport that way, but teleportation, for instance, from the surface of the planet to a ship. Through dimensions is a little bit difficult for most people to handle, and not everybody wants to do that.
And it depends again on what level you're on. It'll be more not dimensional as it will be cylindrical through space rather than time.
Yeah, and one thing that most people will have psychic abilities such as remote viewing, such as empathy, and I'm thinking psionic empathy, not simply having empathy for a person. Telepathy, those things will be very commonplace.
Yeah,
it'll be very difficult to lie and to be lied to.
It'll be very difficult to lie and to be lied to?
Yeah, because when all those things all those little gadgets start coming alive in the brain, there are things that have been closed off for many, many, many centuries.
I'm really looking forward to the teleportation part of it, but I was just sitting here thinking, there you be sitting in your living room, next thing you know, here a relative comes sitting next to you, teleporting into your house. We got to find a way to block some of that.
Who is the person that
and you'll experience time differently as well. You won't experience the ticking of the minutes. You won't experience boredom because when you're done one thing, you'll be immediately on to a next.
Isn't time man-made?
No perception of boredom.
Time is man-made. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, what changes will we see in the body?
Greater health. After transition, we will all be idealized selves. So even if you are in your 90s and very, very disabled and maybe don't have lost your vision or sense, you'll be like a idealized 30-year-old version of yourself.
You'll regenerate.
Yeah. And people who have contact with those who have passed will tell you that no matter what age they were when they passed, they show up as a 30-year-old, an idealized 30-year-old.
So are we going to be less dense, though? Are we going to become less dense?
Tolek has a lot of information on this, but fourth dimensional humans weigh about 15 to 20 pounds.
Yeah,
because we will be carrying so many things around, like the world.
Light.
Yeah, well, physicality is first to third dimensional theme. Fourth, fifth, and sixth, the theme is duality.
Okay. And in actuality, you and I talked earlier, and you mentioned the fact that, so people know, you'll be back in January.
Yes. I'm hoping to come back on the Talk with Vince show in January, and we're hoping to open up phone lines so that callers can come in.
Yeah, we will do that. We will make sure that during that show that we open the lines up and just have people call in so that they can ask questions. We open them up somewhat today, but I know that there's some things that you wanted to get out there, and we wanted to make sure that happened. And I really appreciate you coming on the show and making that happen for us. So the next time that you come on, we will do it. We will have an open format so that they can call in and they can ask you questions. Because like I said, a lot of people want to talk to you. A lot of people want to know what you've been up to and what you're doing. And you have a lot of followers. And the information and the guidance that you give out, it really helps a lot of us.
Thank you, Vince. It's always a pleasure. And thank you, Bronwyn.
And listen,
you're welcome.
Give out your website for those that may not be familiar with where to find you at.
It's www.silverlegion.org. It's not a .com. It's an .org. And it's silver as in the metal and legion as in the military formation.
We got about 2 minutes. Is there anything else you want to say, dear, before you go? And don't hang up.
Enjoy the next few months. This is traditionally in the Western Hemisphere a time of togetherness and a time of family. So if you could stand your family, be with them as much as you can. If you don't have family that you can be with, try to be with friends. Try to be with the family of the heart.
Well, happy Yule for you.
Happy Yule.
Now, what does that mean?
What?
That is the old term for the solstice season.
It's the oldest term in the world for the solstice season. What you would call Christmas.
Okay.
She knew it.
Well, yes, I'm half Danish. We have a saying.
Yeah, Lord Heimdall of the Rainbow Bridge.
Listen, I'm a young person. I don't know these things.
Yeah, he's so young. Lord Heimdall of the Rainbow Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll tell him about it. Yeah, and the burning tree.
Thank you so much for being on our show today. And again, it's always a pleasure when we come on. And so you guys heard it. We're going to have Tanaath back in January, and it's going to be Tanaath the 4th.
After Yule.
After Yule, yes. So you see, I'm not expecting the world to end.
Are you lighting a 3-candle log?
I don't think we have a log this year.
Really?
Yeah. No, instead we have an Advent candle.
Oh, great. Well, happy Advent and happy Yule.
Glad Yule.
Thank you so much, dear. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being on our show and being with us. And we will see you back in January. And I want to thank all the people that called in, too, also, to ask questions. And next time we'll open up the lines more for you guys. Have a great week. And we've got a special show for you next week. We've got, what is this?
Pasaneo from the Hopi Nation.
Yes, that's going to be exciting.
I'll have to tune into that one.
Oh, you will love it. We're going to be talking in Dinka, or he will be.
See, young people don't know nothing about that like myself.
Oh, yes, you do. You will.
Views and and opinions expressed on this program were those of the hosts and guests and did not necessarily reflect those of Vegas All Net Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company.